I'm Myke Shrews,
I'm Tivis,
and you're listening to
the Munster Cast,
episode 6. Welcome back, everybody. Again, I am Myke Shrews here with my co-host Tivis, and you are listening to the Munster Cast, the podcast where we watch the Munsters and just talk about our thoughts. Movies, whatever we can find Munsters related, we do it. So with that said, let's dive into it, Tivis. Can't talk today.
You were saying you had something for us this week.
Oh, yes, I have a little something I wanted to throw out into the Munster sphere and see what the audience thinks, see what you think about it, possibly being something that we can talk about later down the road. I came across the Munsters 1965 Gold Key comics. There's 16 issues of it, and I was very intrigued. I got to see a few panels from one of the comics. You can Google it and see some of the panels, but I found out that there are 16 issues for this whole set, and I might be picking it up. And if the audience wants to, or if you want to read through these and we can discuss them on, we'll just take a whole comic episode for the Munsters and do that if you want. And if the audience thinks it's a cool idea to dive into something besides just the episodes, of course. And it is the Munsters same of course it's the same family, but it's based on the 1964 Munsters because it is from 1965, so it is like the exact same. It would be the exact same actors, I should say, as so they are on the front covers of some of these issues. So yeah, I'm not familiar with any of the Munster comics besides what I saw online real quick. And they're about $14 a piece, though. That's a lot. I wish that they would put them together in like a one issue book,
an omnibus or something.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Yeah, so 16 issues. If you guys are interested, let us know. Tivis, if you're interested in stuff, let me know.
Oh, I'm interested, but
awesome. It's finding them all is the issue. For the 16 issues. Dad joke.
No.
Just so people know, I torture Tivis with dad jokes all the time. Just wait till you have kids, sir. All right, so let's dive into it. Today we are talking about the Munsters episodes 10 and 11. And Tivis, take it on.
All right, so we opened on Lily enjoying looking out the window at a wonderfully rainy day as Herman comes out from under the stairs. And this was my screw up. I mentioned this one last week, but it's actually this scene right here as Herman's coming up. If you look to the left of the stairs, then it's where you can see a crewman walking across.
Okay. Awesome.
Herman and Lily are talking about how they're going to the beach to enjoy this nice rain. And Grandpa is jealous because he wasn't invited, but they're like, all you do is bury yourself in the sand.
Yeah.
So Grandpa decides to go over to Marilyn. It's like, or Eddie, and is like, hey, where's Marilyn? Let's have a checkers tournament. She's out on a date. I'm going to go out and does he say he's going to go catch a friend?
Yeah. Again, Grandpa's. It's the verbiage that Grandpa uses. It's like,
Oh, this was Eddie. I thought he was said.
oh, this was Eddie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he does. He says, "I'm gonna go out and catch a friend." Yeah, yeah. Maybe he meant like an animal. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Who knows? Um, let's see. Grandpa asks Igor if he wants to go play a game of checkers instead, and Igor says he also has a date.
Yes.
So Grandpa's finding himself a little lonely. He finds an ad for a matchmaking service in the paper. So,
it's interesting too.
Yeah.
Because what's the name of this matchmaking the company?
Oh, I have it a little later here in my notes.
Matrimonial agency.
Yes, that's there it is.
It's not even a matchmaking thing. It's a let's get you hitched right now thing.
Yeah.
So it's funny too because he is it now or later when Herman finds out?
It's a little later.
Okay.
But my immediate thought is Grandpa's going to bury another wife.
Right.
So, okay, yeah, this is where he comes to the kitchen. He's all singing, kisses Marilyn, and she's like, why are you so happy? So Grandpa tells everyone. Lily and Herman then walk in. Lily's happy, and Herman is happy at first, and then becomes suspicious that he captured a woman.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The whole Eddie situation within this episode kind of it's just all brushed off. Yeah, they I think they dive more within Grandpa. Also, I'm going to be 100% honest with you with this episode. Besides some of the key points that I have to talk about, I was dozing off. And I tried to go back and rewind it and stuff and catch what I did miss though. So we're clear.
I've been
if I don't say a lot about this,
I've noticed our dynamic, so I have some very thorough notes of each of these episodes.
For people that know that I watch these episodes late at night by myself, the night before we record. So Tivis does all the work. Tivis carries the show. I'm just here to turn it on.
Yeah, so I got you. So Herman finds out about the matrimonial agency, and he's extremely skeptical. Also, he mentions that if Grandma has a grave, she'd be rolling in it. Why doesn't Grandma have a grave? Is she back alive again?
Maybe they want her back because, like in the previous episode, didn't they get like $5,000 for her death?
Yeah, when she died again was the comment.
Yeah. All right, so where are we at with this?
Herman walks. He comes home and says he's back from the salt mines. Is that a 60s slang that I'm not aware of?
I think so. I've heard it before. I don't think it was a literal salt mine, Tivis.
Okay. Well, we still don't know what his job is, other than it might be a funeral home.
The professional wrestler, remember?
No, that was his night job. And that place burned down. So
yeah, I guess. All right.
Yeah, he extremely disapproves of this and says it's going to fail. Lily calls him heartless. She is mad at him for his comments. And Herman claims that's not possible. They put my heart in first.
Oh, this is when they're talking to Grandpa about his matrimonial agency thing.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very interesting about this. What I grabbed from it the matrimonial agency within this episode of the dynamic that they're using, where Grandpa's just looking for love on it, right? Using it for love. And, but yet his family, like certain members, I should say, of his family don't like it, or friends, possibly, if we ever saw friends for this family. Um, it reminds me a lot of like online dating to this day and age, like how people react. Some people are like really into it. Some people are just like, well, that's stupid. I would never do that. I would blah, blah, blah. Well, not everyone is you, fucker. So chill. It's like, I really found that to be cool, because this is before the internet was released to the public, at least. So
quite a few decades.
yeah, to see that it was still kind of the same thing with like paper ad dating or whatever, it's kind of interesting, because I never visually saw any of that going on as a youngin, I should say. I didn't have to think about that shit. I also don't know how online dating works either, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, no, I was snatched up real quick, still in high school, so I have no idea how the dating world works, and I hope to God I never find out.
Oh, I'd be fucked. Like, not
Yeah.
not in the good way. Like, I would just be sitting around. I'm like, I don't know. You want to go watch a Marvel movie with me?
So we meet Linda from the agency.
Yes.
Who arrives at their house and immediately gets covered in cobwebs.
Yeah. And there's some interesting facts about this person, or elements to this story that I found really cool, but we'll dive into it as we're exposing more of this story. So
yeah, and Linda meets Meryl, who answers the door. She walks in, sees Lily, and she gets scared of Lily. And I'm like, well, if you're scared of her, you are screwed.
Right.
She offers her some coffee. She pours some hot cream. They heat their cream up instead of their coffee. Mm-hmm. Is there anyone in the world who actually does this? I'm curious. Please send us a tweet, an email, something. This can't be a real thing.
The heat the cream up before and then just dump it in the coffee.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure somebody does.
I don't know. I'm not a coffee drinker, but that can't be right.
People's living habits, Tivis.
Yeah. So a gunshot is heard, and Lily says, "Oh, that's just Grandpa."
Yeah.
Which Grandpa then makes one heck of an entrance. There's like an explosion. He pops out of the trap door. It's fantastic. If that isn't Al Lewis, whatever stuntman that got to do that did a really good job. And he immediately begins to woo Linda with a strange dance.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's the first meeting of them too. And I totally forgot to read the synopsis for this episode, by the way.
Oh my God, I forgot okay. So Autumn Croakus, episode 10 aired November 26th, written by James B. Allardyce, Tom Aldar, and Norm Lieberman. James and Tim are new. They both wrote for Hogan's Heroes, My Favorite Martian, and I Dream a Genie. And this was directed by Lawrence Dobkin again.
Awesome. Yeah, I totally forgot about this whole synopsis part. Sorry about that, guys.
We got sidetracked.
Synopsis for Autumn Croakus, November 26, 1964. Feeling lonely, Grandpa contacts a matrimonial agency that promises to find him a mate. That agency sends over an attractive elderly woman who proves not to be quite as harmless as she looks. Dun, dun, dun. Which we've already talked about most of that. So,
So,
was she elderly though? I didn't really feel that she was.
She wasn't that old. No,
maybe late 30s, early 40s. She wasn't near Grandpa's age. Well, no one's near Grandpa's age.
No. During this scene, Grandpa doesn't let go of her finger after grabbing her hand, and it's right in front of the camera, and it's a little unsettling. because it's like it's in front of the camera as we're looking at Herman and Lily, and it's weird.
Just sitting there.
Yeah. After this, we cut to the matrimonial agency where we meet Malcolm, who some people may recognize, but I'll talk about that later. Who is talking to someone who's looking to meet a woman, and he recommends Linda, who is the agency owner. She apparently will go out with anyone. And as they have a conversation together, Malcolm and her, which I can't tell if they're a couple or not, but turns out Linda's a Black Widow. She kills her husbands to get their will.
Which can I say, I'm very curious if this is where the Addams Family of Values got their storyline from.
Maybe.
It's
my thought is
the same storyline, just not as dark.
My thought was, oh, Linda is actually perfect for Grandpa. They have so many hobbies in common.
So many exes that they're dead.
Yeah. So I'm like, dang, it's a shame that I know this isn't going to work out because they're actually perfect for each other. We cut back to the house. We finally have confirmation Lily is the one who puts the cobwebs up.
Yes. Yeah. I saw that. That was pretty cool. She's just sitting them. Yeah.
Herman is back from the salt mines again and is mad about the quote mail order bride in the house.
Yeah. I forgot that was a thing too. Mail order brides.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 90 Day Fiance is going extremely strong right now.
Is that a show?
It's multiple shows.
Oh God.
My wife loves weird stuff, people.
So she likes seeing people sold into to matrimony. It's bizarre. That's what that is.
Real quick without going down a rabbit hole. 90 Day Fiance is just people who go overseas, meet someone, get a visa, they have 90 days, but they have so many spin-offs, like before they get the visa, after they get married, and like 50 freaking spin-offs on Discovery Plus with it's a lot.
Anyways.
Yeah, Mike's catchphrase, which I think is the first time you said it on this show. Herman breaks the floor. And at this point, I have to think of the poor set designers who have to constantly fix this stuff.
Yeah, well, not only that, they're constantly replacing it. It's you have to set it up for it to be broken. You have to set it up for it to not break as easily when the actors are actually there. It's a very interchangeable set, I will say, with this show, because they do so many set gags with it. Unlike a lot of sitcoms that we had like in the 90s and stuff like that, where it was like, this is it, it's built here, it's there, it's staying here. We don't have to worry about the floor, the ceiling, the cabinets. In this show, they're constantly changing the set. I mean, even the cobwebs alone, the spider webs alone, is constantly changing. There's not a single episode that I've seen so far where webbing is in the same place all the time.
Oh, we haven't talked about this. This is for listeners. This was like a month ago for you now. Well, maybe 2 months, but did you see Rob Zombie's house that they built for the movie?
Yeah, they built
it
complete replica on the outside.
Fantastic.
I don't know about the inside though. I didn't see
no, they haven't shown that, but the exterior shot looks amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, he's one of those guys. I mean, visually, I think he'll be able to get there. It's the story that kind of worries me. I'm not sure if he cast as of the time we're recording this episode. I'm not sure if he has cast yet. So,
which again, Rob, if you want to come on and talk about your movie, we will absolutely not say no.
Which again, also, when you name your podcast The Munster Cast and you Google that, all you get is The Munster Cast, not us. Didn't think that through.
Yeah, I didn't think that one either.
We're in there somewhere.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah, I'm interested to see where that goes. But of course, we're definitely going to watch that movie and talk
oh yeah.
later down the road when it comes out. I think it comes out in 2022 sometime. So
Mhm. I'm skeptically optimistic. I'm going to see it regardless because I just love the Munsters. So
yeah.
it's way past due that they get a theatrical release. So yeah, Herman breaks the floor, and so he's totally acting like a child who doesn't want his parent to get remarried.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's working so well because him and Grandpa haven't exactly gotten along. But we cut to Linda back. She's in the house, and the cat is back. Every time I see this cat, I'm like, wow, they remembered they own a cat. And the dragon still hasn't eaten it.
Which we haven't seen
Spike in a while. Is it Spot?
Wow.
All
yeah,
right.
Spot. So
We'll remember its name once it comes out more often. Yeah. Linda is setting the table for Lily and Grandpa. Grandpa. No, I'm sorry. I think it's for both of them, but actually, it's just for Grandpa, and tells Lily not to eat it because it turns out she poisoned the hell out of this. Lily points out a electric chair that Grandpa bought for decoration. I made note of that because why? If you're going to buy one, at least buy one that works. Lily apologizes that their guest room is on the sunny side of the house, which, you know what, I can actually appreciate because anyone who doesn't have blackout curtains knows the sun sucks in the morning. But the cat ends up spilling the food, which sets a fire in the kitchen. What the hell poison is this?
I wasn't sure what was going on with that. I have nothing really to say for it.
Yeah. At this point, we find out that Marilyn is skeptical about Linda, and I would like to point out that we switch scenes with no one putting the fire out.
I thought she walked over and put it out.
Nobody goes back into the kitchen at all.
I swore. Maybe I'm thinking of a TikTok.
Oh, well, if we haven't dated the show by now, we definitely have. Yeah, TikTok. Hey, how about that Vine? So Linda begins wandering around the house at night, and Lily, I thought at first thinks she hears a burglar, but no, she's complaining because she doesn't hear things.
Yeah.
She wakes Herman up. He tells her it's nothing, go back to bed. The house will begin creaking soon. Linda figures out how to do the phone door, which surprises me.
Yeah, I'm very I don't know how everyone knows how to just do that, especially
or even where it is.
A lot of these people also, it's like the issue I have is like everybody knows the Munsters house better than we, the audience, are watching it. And
I was gonna say, what was it? Episode 2? No. Yeah, My Fair Munster. With the love potion, and we got them running around doing the whole Scooby-Doo thing.
Yeah, they're literally getting around the house faster than the Munsters are sometimes. And I'm like, how?
I think that was the most we've seen of their house.
Yeah. Interesting.
So she's talking to Malcolm about how she plans to kill him by having him fall down the stairs like one of the other exes of hers.
Yeah.
At this point, Herman can't get back to sleep, so he goes downstairs for a snack. As he goes down, he sees the phone still out. He gets mad that Meryl didn't put it back away. He goes into the kitchen as Linda starts putting a skate on the stairs and greases the rails. They keep cutting back and forth between Linda and Herman, and it's extremely well comedic effect, I think, because Herman makes himself a sandwich using a garden shovel. Takes the cat outside. As he's taking the cat outside, Linda comes in, takes the garden shovel, and then steals his sandwich. Herman comes in, his sandwich is gone. He's like, maybe I ate it. I don't know. So he goes back upstairs, steps on the skate, pulverizes it. And as he goes, Linda comes back, starts putting some tripwire down. And if I don't know if you noticed,
I know what you're okay. I was confused for a minute, but yeah, I remember where you're at now. Okay, yeah. It's the whole thing where she's just trying to kill him.
Yeah, she's setting up the trap to kill him.
But Grandpa lives in the freaking lab, though. Like, why are you setting stuff up on the
Maybe
stairs?
He doesn't. We've seen Herman asleep down there, but we haven't seen Grandpa. We've seen him asleep in the kitchen.
In the kitchen, yeah. I was going to say, he sleeps upside down in the kitchen.
But if you notice, as she's putting the rope down to trip Grandpa coming down the stairs, the skate that was just pulverized is next to her.
Yeah.
But not squished.
Yeah.
Where are we?
I think it's interesting. This is the one episode too where we actually see Herman and Lily like actually somewhat fighting too.
Yeah. Because he goes back and he's
like, "Fuck this! I'm going to the couch."
Yeah. He's like
rips the blanket off of her.
It's like, you're not taking my feelings into consideration at all. Which, like, anyone in a relationship, communicate, like, empathy to your partner, even if you don't agree with them. But as Herman goes to go to sleep, he on the sofa, he bumps into Linda, who is.
No, he doesn't even go to sleep on the sofa. He goes to the guest room.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. He goes and lays down. This is the first time that him and Linda have met.
Okay, yeah.
And
he goes to the guest room. I'm not sure why he goes to the guest room when he knows she's in the guest room.
Maybe he didn't know that she was staying.
I guess.
Or he forgot. There's a chance he forgot.
Maybe he's just too mad. Because he does whip that blanket off his wife real fast.
So he goes and I didn't even have this in my notes, but just saying it again made me like, she got scared of Lily. She sees Herman, freaks the fuck out.
Oh yeah. And she bolts out of that house.
Yeah, and he starts freaking out because there's someone in the bed with him.
Yeah.
He's like, holy shit, there's someone here.
So this happens and she bolts the fuck out the house, and then like all blaming Herman, like, what did you do? Like it's like what? It's like blaming him because he like scared her off or some shit.
Yeah, she falls into her own trap as well.
Yeah, but and then like you see you go to the outside of the house and you see these cops like holding her. Like, where the fuck did they come from? Like,
she's probably screaming down the road.
Like, yeah, but they knew who she was and everything already.
Yeah, like this is the infamous Black Widow.
Yeah. At least she didn't, have the fate of one from Adam's Family. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yet.
And she's like, the police are like, this is, they catch her because she was yelling about monsters. They're like, do you have any monsters in your house? And it's Meryl who answers the door, by the way. She's like, no, it's just my family. Oh, she's clearly just trying to go for an insanity plea.
Yeah. And the cops explain to Marilyn who she is. And then Marilyn goes in and explains it to the family. And
but as the cops are taking Linda away, she's like, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Get me away from this house.
Grandpa's just like, she was going to try and kill me. after we've gone through like 9 episodes of freaking grandpa like
He turned into a
killing
wolf and
everyone.
tried to maul a guy.
Right. The grandpa's potentially like the worst person in this entire show.
And you can't help but feel a little bad for him because he was so excited to have a companion.
Yeah.
And then the show ends with Herman comments how the world is getting scary.
Yeah. Oh, and then we end it. That's
Yeah.
actually where we close, right? There's
Yep.
nothing at a dinner table or anything like that after.
Yeah, it's kind of a bleak ending, actually. Like, yeah, no, the world's getting suckier.
It's literally it's a pretty fast episode. That's probably why I fell asleep during it too, or dozed off here and there during this one, because
You sound like you're dozing off here, but we're
yeah. Well, I mean, like they did that massive like scene that took up a good portion of the episode where it's just her setting traps, like going all Home Alone style on the house or some shit. And I don't know. I was kind of like, okay, this is overdrawn, this part right here. We could use this to fill in and do something else with it.
I just enjoyed that she stole his sandwich.
Yeah.
That cracked me up.
It would have been interesting to see more of the dynamic between her and the agency runner, because clearly he knows that she's
Malcolm
killing people.
Does he go to jail?
Right. Does he go to jail? What's going on with him? Again, sitcom, so it's not, we're not supposed to think of it in the dark terms like that. But she's literally killing people. And this
did you enjoy this one overall, the parts that you remember?
From the stuff I remember, it was okay. It wasn't like top tier or anything for their episodes for me.
Yeah, I'd say this one was all right. You know, if we're going like a 3 points,
the stuff I did miss that like I just like closed my eyes for a few seconds during. I did go back and rewatch. It's just, but a lot of it again was a lot of that filler stuff where it's just her running through the house doing all this random stuff. So
yeah,
or Herman going back and forth. So
yeah, I always gauge everything on like a 3-point scale. You know, I either liked it, it was okay, or didn't enjoy it. I'd say this one was just okay.
Yeah.
But the guest list for this one is Linda Watkins as Linda Gardner. Neil Hamilton is Malcolm, who anyone who's a fan of Adam West Batman will recognize Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is right. Yeah. Okay.
He was also 3 different characters in Mr. Ed. Richard Reeves was the first police officer. And Jerry Mann was the second police officer, who has done a ton of different voices in the Flintstones.
Cool.
And the title of this one came from Autumn Crocus, which was a 1934 film based on a British play with the same name that was first performed in 1931.
All right. I have nothing else to say about this episode, honestly.
Yeah.
The last episode I did not fall, or the episode 11
this was a good one.
I did not fall asleep during this one. So
The Midnight Ride of Herman Munster, episode 11. It aired December 3rd, 1964, written by Joan Connolly, Bob Mosher, Norm Liebman. We are getting used to these names. This one was directed by a newcomer, though, Ezra Stone, who did 5 episodes of Lassie and 8 episodes of Lost in Space, both shows that I also enjoy.
I love Lost in Space.
I still have to check out the new one.
I was never a Lassie fan, but I do like that they use the constant same writers. It seems, at least for these first 11 episodes now.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how many episodes they go through, and everything. Yeah.
We have a mutual friend with the last name Mosher. You should find out if he's related to Bob.
Oh God. Don't get him that conceitedness then. Love you, Mosher. So episode 11, The Midnight Ride of Herman Munster, December 3rd, 1964. Herman falls asleep in the back of his car. leaving the keys in the ignition just as the car is stolen by a couple of bank robbers who are unaware that Herman is lying in the back seat. So where did Herman get this car from? Because I thought he had the Munsters coach.
Well, remember, they mentioned that they already have a car in that episode.
How is he driving this car, bro? He has to take the seat out just to get into the coach. Like, he ain't driving this car. How did he even lay down in the back of this fucking
that's
car?
actually a interesting thing. I never we will never see Herman drive the Munster coach. No. He is never in the driver's seat. And it's his car. He got it for his birthday.
Yeah.
But I thought that was it. I'm like, what?
I just want to know how the hell the actor himself laid in this car. I guarantee you when they had them in the back floorboard, the door was wide open.
Oh, more than likely.
Because Fred Gwynn is a big guy without the extension boots and shit like that. So there's no way he was fitting back there. They had a lot of set manipulation was done. Granted, I mean, it was probably not even a real car anyways. For that, it was just like a set car, pieces of a car, shit like that. But there was no way Herman Munster was driving that car. Those guys in there looked perfectly fine. And that was a bench seat in the front. It wasn't individual seats. That was a big bench seat. Yeah. Anyways, let's dive into this episode. Episode 11.
So we open with Herman yawning as he walks into the living room where Lily is.
Yep.
They just with Lily, I'm sorry. They had just come back from the drive-in where a bunch of people had just left there so fast they drove through fences, resulting in many head-on collisions.
Because they saw the Munsters.
Yeah.
I just now thought about that joke.
Herman is ready to go to bed at 2 a.m., which is early for him, but he says he hasn't been sleeping well. And I will note that I was watching this at 2 a.m., so his yawning was making me yawn.
I probably watched this one around the midnight, so a midnight ride was probably a perfect episode to watch at midnight.
Oh, yeah. Lily wants him to get something of, she left her coat in the car. That's right. When I was writing this, I didn't register what she said, but I got it later. And as he goes to get it, he instead just falls asleep. And at that point, two guys come walking by, see the car, and are like, hey, this be a great getaway car for a bank robbery. Let's take it. Cue the credits.
Just take the car. It didn't even seem like he went out there to actually get her stuff. He just went out there to go to sleep because he just lays down instantly. He's like, fuck it. And I'm just going like, go to sleep. So the bank robbers are robbers. They don't actually, do they ever say what their plan actually is? It was bank, right?
It was to rob a bank. Yeah.
That's right. So they steal the car, and that was what confused me for a second. I was like, what? Why is this their car? And Herman just accidentally got in their car?
No, it's not theirs, so they'll get away with it. They won't be able to trace it.
Right. Yeah, it happens all the time. People still steal cars and think they can get.
Oh, yeah, they do. There was that TV show, Bait Car.
Yeah. So they steal the car and they drive Herman like out into the boonies, somewhere in the boonies.
Well, before that though, we get Lily stomping on Grandpa's trap door, saying she's worried that Herman hasn't returned with her coat and the car is gone. So Grandpa mentions, he probably left. I used to go out a lot at night, which that what we know about Grandpa, I'm like, that doesn't help your character at all.
I used to do a lot of late night. Yeah.
So that comment also,
did he lick his chomps when he said that in this one, or am I thinking of the previous the wrestling episode?
He may have.
Okay.
Yeah. So Lily then gets worried that, like the movie they just saw with David Niven, Tuesday Weld, and Paul Newman, that he's going out to see another woman, which I got an interesting trivia fact for you since you're a movie guy. So the interesting thing about that is David Niven and Tuesday Weld never worked together, but Tuesday Weld did work with Paul Newman in one film. So I don't know what movie they saw, but it's one that didn't exist.
Awesome. Shit. I forgot where I was at.
Yeah, we just had some technical difficulties.
Yeah. Tivis decided to talk and then it cut out.
They're doing some work on the lines around my house, so we've been having some outages. So now we get the robbers driving to what they call as the farmhouse as Herman snores loudly in the back seat, and the driver calls his he tells his passenger, he's like, "Hey, you're snoring too loud. Will you shut up?"
Yeah, he lays his head down. Herman snores. He wakes his ass up, and then he's just like, he like badgers his buddy. You were sleeping. I wasn't sleeping. How could I be sleeping? I'm right here. I'm wide awake. I'm talking. I'm not sleeping. What the fuck accent was that?
Mix of Brooklyn and Jersey?
I don't know. I didn't even know I had that in me. Can we cut that? No.
No.
But then the guy's just like, why don't you just shut up and go back to sleep? And so the guy goes back to sleep and starts snoring again. Anyways, they finally get to where they're going, and they go in the house. They still don't know Herman is in the back of the car. And then do we get
before we get to that, we got
no, the two guys go in the house, and then we cut back to the house. That's what it is.
Yeah, where Lily is getting real worried about Herman. So she doesn't want to worry Eddie, but she involves him in him missing anyway. So that whole plot point was pointless.
Yeah.
So Marilyn takes Eddie into another room while Lily calls the police. Grandpa thinks it's a mistake for her to report missing. This must have been before the 24-hour missing, waiting before you report people.
Maybe, or it's just TV.
Yeah, all right, maybe. Okay, this is where we get Herman's age, because Grandpa said the police are asking for some information, and she asked Grandpa. And Grandpa goes, they started working on Herman right after the war of 1812. He brings up the medical school from a couple episodes ago, so that was cool, when he went to Heidelberg University. And he says that they finished building him roughly around 1850. So Lily just goes, he's middle-aged.
Okay. Yeah, he's like middle-aged, tall. He has a scar on the top of his head that's shaped like a lightning bolt. Wait, is this a giant Harry Potter?
Harry Potter wasn't born yet.
You don't know that.
I unfortunately know too much about those books.
What year did Harry Potter take place in?
94 was when he went to Hogwarts.
No, that's when the books were written, right?
Well, she was right. And
it was present time for her.
Yeah.
Her.
I could also be off by a couple of years. So I said that with such conviction, but in my head, I'm like, was it?
You're just like, it was 94, bitch. Shut up.
I've read those. I'm not even exaggerating. I've read those books exactly 18 times each because I didn't have a lot of books when I was little. So yeah. Anyway, we find out Herman has two different colored eyes.
Yeah. Well, they're from two different people.
Yeah. I'd be curious if they, if and when we get to the new Munsters, the colored version, if they give him contacts or decide to scrap that fact.
Do you think that he'll go colored, or do you think Rob Zombie will go Snyderverse on this? And
I didn't even think about the movie.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the 80s show.
Oh, the 80s show. Gotcha. Yeah, I was thinking about Rob Zombie if he's gonna do it in color or black and white, because he could do so many cool things in black and
I
white.
could
Or
see
in
him.
both.
Yeah, I could see him starting in black and white and then transitioning to color, and then offering a pure black and white version like they did with Logan
Yes.
and Mad Max.
Yeah. See, here's the thing I do not want, and somebody said this would be really a dumbass said this would be really cool online. And I 100% disagree with them. They said it would be cool if they start the movie out like the TV show is done, like where it's a sitcom style and
Yeah.
everything like that, but then transition it into that's the TV show within the real world of the Munsters, and then the Munsters are actually not like that wholesome family you see on the TV. He's like,
I don't like that.
I was like, wait, so basically you want to give it the Powerpuff treatment, because isn't that what they fucking did with the Powerpuff Girls in that show that CW's trying to make? Like the cartoon
I
is
don't
like
honestly know.
based. That's what I heard. But I was like, I don't like that idea. Why would you do that? The whole thing about the Munsters is they are a wholesome family of monsters. You don't turn it too dark. It's not an Addams family.
Yeah. Addams family.
Okay, anyways, that's my little tidbit.
I just ate a piece of pizza.
Sexy.
I made food while we were down. So yeah, I don't know. That's I don't like that at all. They actually did that with Doctor Who. In the original classic run, they had an episode where they went back to 63 when the show aired. And as they're exiting a room, you could see the first broadcast, the intro start on the TV, and then they cut away. And I'm like, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a difference between foreshadowing and just being dumb.
Oh, they mentioned the house address for the first time, I believe, right?
Yes, this is the first time that I've heard it spoken, at least in this show.
Because
I think we've seen the 1313 on their panel, and they've said Mockingbird Lane, but I've never heard it.
Grandpa was reading a newspaper called Mockingbird Way or something like that a couple episodes ago.
Yeah. So this is the first time, I believe. I might be wrong. Correct us, but
I believe it is too.
Because when I heard it, I was like, oh, I haven't heard them say that yet. So, yeah.
So the police get off the phone with Lily, and he talks to his partner. He's like, yeah, so we're looking for a tall, fat guy with amnesia.
Yeah. Except they forgot the scar part.
Yeah, they didn't mention that, or the eyes.
Or the eyes. Yeah. Well, he was also like, well, she seemed out of it. So he was like, I'm not going to take her word exactly at the moment. So.
Okay. So here's where the robbers arrive at their destination and get out. And they're like, hey, is that the Big Dipper? Who cares? We're going inside. And like, what if someone steals our car? No one's going to do that. Who would do that? Like, well, you guys, but
right.
They're waiting for, they go inside and they meet a third guy who is telling them they're waiting for their driver. And he says it's a big, tall fella called Louis, Big Louis.
Yeah.
And at that exact moment, Herman hears a wolf howl. Who he may have thought it was his kid, because if anyone remembers, Eddie does that at night.
Mm-hmm.
But he looks kind of terrified, so maybe not. He gets up. He's like, "Where am I?" So he goes and knocks on the door, and naturally, they confuse Herman with their getaway driver.
Yeah, because they don't even let him say anything. They just, "Hey, Louis, how you doing, man? Let's go."
They invite him inside. They talk about it, like, "Hey, we're going to do this." He's like, I don't know if I want to do this. They're like, "No, you're going to do it, or else you can't back out now." He's like, well, I guess I'm going to do it. And then as he's leaving, he breaks their front door.
Yeah. So then they end up leaving, taking off. And then we get a scene with another guy and the cops are driving down the street and spot this other guy who's just like walking through a neighborhood, a random
he's
neighborhood.
drunk.
He is nowhere near the farmhouse that he's looking for. And the police pull him over and they assume that it's Herman because he kind of matches the description that dispatch gave them. So then they end up getting him and they're just like, oh, you're drunk. You don't know who you are or anything. And,
he keeps calling himself Louis.
Yeah. And they have the 1313 Mockingbird address. So they say, well, we'll take you home. Normally, if cops are picking you up drunk on the road like that, they're not taking you home all the time.
They may have back then. They were a lot more lenient.
Yeah. I was gonna say now
they didn't have as much stress as they do today to put them on edge.
Right. But I guess back in the 60s they probably would have a smaller community. They didn't have
they were more localized instead of
yeah.
I
get that. And they drop him off at the house. We don't see this part. But later we find out they tucked him in the bed.
Yeah, they took him into the house. That's Grandpa and Lily are driving around in the coach.
Yeah.
And with Meryl and Eddie, who again, she didn't want Eddie involved, but he's involved. So they stop and she calls from a payphone and they're like, yeah, we found him. We put him in bed. She doesn't say a word. Oh, they also called her house creepy.
Yeah.
Also, Eddie makes a comment that he can't go to sleep until dawn, which how does he go to school then?
They just want to be funny with the darks, man. I don't know, man. Maybe he can't go to sleep. Maybe he sleeps 3 hours of the day and that's it. Night school. So we have seen them in the first, I think it was episode 2. We did see him during the day.
Because he was running home from the crowd of people that were into
the crowd of girls. Yeah.
So we cut back to Herman driving the robbers around, and it looks like the sun is up now. It might just be because it's black and white and they had to make it bright, but
yeah.
And I'm wondering at this point, since it looks like it's daylight, I'm like, have the family found out it's not Herman yet? But that gets answered pretty quick. They drive by the bank, meet up with 2 other guys who are actually committing the robbery, who throw the money in. What was the point of these 3?
Maybe I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. They were the ringers, so maybe they were the ones setting everything up and you hire the crew to do it.
Even then, you only need the one guy with Herman.
I don't know, man.
But
they all wanted arrested.
Herman, they tell Herman to step on it, and he begins driving away. But he's driving pretty respectably. He doesn't like to speed.
Yeah. His car too. So,
and as they're going through the road, they almost collide with the coach. And Lily goes, "Was that Herman?" And Grandpa goes, "No, he's at home sleeping. Don't be stupid."
I wish he would have said that in those exact words.
He probably would have if it was today.
Don't be stupid, Lily. What is wrong with you? Oh,
he is a mean guy.
Oh yeah.
So Lily, she goes to check on him, hears him snoring, and thinks, "Yeah, all right, that's him. He's under the covers." So she puts a dustier sheet over top of him, and that's the end we see of the family for a while. So we go back to Herman, who is still trying to outrun the cops by obeying traffic laws, and it's sort of working. The cops don't know what to do because they're expecting them to speed away. So like having to dodge them, stopping at a red light. And
they're, it's an interesting car chase. I'll tell you that one right now.
Yeah, it is.
It's more interesting than OJ's car chase.
So then they hide in a no parking area, and Herman's like, but we can't stay here. It's no parking. So then he pulls into an alleyway and purposely crashes into a wall.
Did he purposefully do it, though? Like,
He claims he did later on, but
I think it's just I wouldn't have claimed that. Insurance, bro.
but that back then he might not have had it.
Well, there goes Eddie's college fund he just got a couple episodes ago.
And they got another car. And we have yet to see Dragula.
Yeah, that comes when they're doing the racing because it's Grandpa's. Dragula is actually Grandpa's car.
Yep. And it's only seen once. So I'm looking forward to actually seeing it because I don't think I've ever seen that episode.
No, I remember it vaguely. So, yeah.
But
so
yeah,
he crashes and the cops get him only, correct? The other
well,
guys-
they arrest the guys and they go to check on him and they're like, oh man, he's all mangled. Look at his face.
Yeah. Yeah. And he keeps trying to tell them who he is.
Yeah, he's like, no, I'm
He's gotta get me
fine.
home.
We're taken to the hospital. I don't want to go to the hospital. Slams his fist on the cop roof and the siren goes flying away, like literally.
Yeah.
It flies away. I want to take a second here to point out something in the backdrop. There's some graffiti on the wall that says, I'm going to butcher this name, but Pally is a fink, which some background. William S. Pally was the owner of CBS, and he was not a fan of the lowbrow humor of the Munsters. The president of CBS, however, James Avery, loved the show, and the two clashed about it so much that Polly actually fired Avery over it.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was their way of basically giving him the middle finger on screen.
Right. Oh, yeah. Well, fuck you.
So, they call Lily and she's like, it can't be Herman. He's up sleeping. And then Herman gets on the phone talking to her. She's like, how are you there? You're upstairs.
Sure, man. And then they end up going upstairs
with Grandpa. Yeah.
Grandpa and finding out that's not Herman.
Oh, Louis wakes up and is like, what the hell?
And so Herman is going to come back home, but they capture Louis by Grandpa literally just freezing his ass.
Yeah, he does more magic, which we saw last week in the wrestling.
Yeah. So he ends up freezing the guy trying to get out of the bed, basically. And Grandpa first floats him up in the air and then freezes him. Was
he floating or was the guy just jumping out of bed?
He jumped really high then.
Yeah.
I think Grandpa grabbed him with his Magneto, and then
his ever-growing powers of Dracula.
He's Superman. Every other week he has a new power.
Yeah.
He freezes him, and then they just leave him there, and then they go downstairs and meet. Herman comes back home, and they finally get all that taken care of. And then they have to go and get Louis out. And Grandpa's like, well, I'll go do it because I'll go.
Yeah, you go. Louis, the guy they thought I was Louis. I bet he's the same guy.
Yeah. Grandpa can't unfreeze him.
Yeah, he forgets how to.
He's like, how do I do that? I don't remember. He just starts saying a bunch of different words and he's like, screw it. And he says one last thing as he's basically saying, screw it. And then the guy falls.
Yeah, he accidentally unfreezes Louis. Louis is somehow still extremely drunk during all this. He meets Herman in the hallway.
Yeah.
And there's the whole.
They don't really tell you how much time has gone past through this. Is it one whole night or what?
Yeah,
you don't really know. For his drunkenness.
And so as the episode ends, what's that?
Maybe he got into Grandpa's potions.
Yeah, maybe Grandpa force fed him a potion
by himself. Fuck. Thanks, police, letting this stranger in my house that you haven't confirmed lives here at all. Like there's a form of identification that people have, you know.
Yeah, but we end the episode on a sweet moment this time with Lily complimenting Herman on his good looks.
Yeah. That's it.
So
Awesome. What's your trivia for me, man?
oh well, the guest list is pretty big on this one. We got Maxie Rosenblum as Big Louie, Val Avery as Marty, Lenny Weinrib as Freddy, who was the voice of Big Mouth on the Smurfs as well as other voices, and he also did Scrappy during the Scrappy or the Scooby and Scrappy Power Hour in '82. He was Scrappy Doo. Lee Krieger as Al. Paul Breyer is uncredited police sergeant. Joel Dante is just an uncredited person, period, who only has 5 acting credits in his entire career list on IMDb. Pat McAfee is an uncredited police officer, not the Pat McAfee that is famous today. He actually will be returning in a future episode as another police officer, so some continuity there. And Michael Ross as another uncredited police officer who again will be returning.
Okay.
And finally, we got Vince Williams as another uncredited person. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Yeah. So unfortunately for those two people, they didn't even have a character name. So I couldn't tell you who they were.
Right.
Some interesting stuff I learned about this was the 1938 Cadillac limousine that was being driven around is actually from Bob Mosier's personal collection.
Herman's car, his personal car.
Yeah, the one they crashed in the alley.
Okay.
The title comes from the first line of the poem Paul Revere's Ride by Henry Wadsworth. Henry Longfellow, sorry.
Okay. So my final thoughts on this episode. I loved the humor, the gags that they pulled in this.
Oh yeah.
Is good. Again, nowadays people will be like, oh, that's so cliche. Well, it wasn't back then.
The cliches had to start somewhere.
Yeah. It's I enjoyed it. I enjoy that they didn't necessarily make the people as soon as they saw Herman freak out. It's like very they pick and choose which group of people are going to
they build it up. They're like, Big Louie, he was a fighter back in the day, so he's pretty messed up.
Yeah.
Not sure what fight would turn your skin green, but
yeah, but we don't know that his skin's that well. I guess because they said
they said it.
Is green. Yeah. Maybe he painted his.
Why didn't the doctor say something
about his green skin?
Yeah, it's sitcom.
Just gotta go with it, man. Just gotta go with it. Actually, I think the doctor had said something in one of the episodes about his skin tone. They just didn't say the color of it or something like that. Because they also mentioned Lily's skin being blue. So yeah, which we will see later on. I think next week we're gonna end up talking about the picture episode.
Yeah, I gotta find my copy of the Blu-ray so I can watch that.
Because Family Portrait is they had did it in color. They released it in color, at least on the DVD set that we're watching. Well, yep. I'm watching. Tivis is still finding his. Family Portrait was both in black and white and then also remastered in color. I don't know, was the color one actually aired on TV? That would be a nice thing to know when we get to it. But anyways, as far as episode 11 goes, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the gags, of course. and getting to see the Munsters doing stuff outside of the house is always a good thing because it opens up the world a little bit more. I know it probably costs them more because they're having to hire more actors and stuff like that, but I like it because we get to see the world building up a bit more and seeing how more people interact with the Munsters. So those are my final thoughts on this episode. Really, like I just really enjoy watching these shows. Midnight Ride Midnight Ride of Herman Munsters. This episode, Autumn Croakus, is the episode I was falling asleep during. So this one's definitely more entertaining for me, anyways.
I enjoyed this one a bit more as well.
Yeah. All right. Any last words for this episode, or
I got one final character spotlight for Al Lewis, and this will be it for a week or two. He was born in April 30th, 1923, passed away February 3rd, 2006. His last acting credit was, like all of them, the pilot that was released in 2004. The unaired pilot for this, which, by the way, speaking of that box set we have, I was looking at the Amazon listing. They erroneously have that portrait colored as the unaired pilot listed in the description. That is not the pilot. His actual last credit was as Father Hanlon in Night Terror, which was in 2002. His very first credit was he was uncredited as an assistant in Lust of the Vampire, which I thought was neat, in 1957. And his first actual credited role was Chi-Chi in the Decoy TV series, and he was also listed as Albert Lewis in that credits.
Okay.
Grandpa has been the character who has come back more than anyone else. There's so many different spinoffs. There's the cartoon Mini Munsters that was on the ABC Saturday Superstar in 73. Hi, Honey, I'm Home, the TV series in 1991. Grandpa's Sci-Fi Hits in 65. He was
it Al Lewis every time then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Al Lewis was also in a movie called My Grandpa is a Vampire in 1992, which I really have to track down and watch because that sounds amazing.
Okay.
He wasn't as Grandpa, but
right.
That's all I got on him. He's just an amazing actor. I've really enjoyed his performance. Like all of them are really great, but he definitely stands out for good reason.
Okay, cool, man. My Grandpa's a Vampire. Ooh, we might just have to watch this, man. Is he the grandpa?
Yeah, I believe so.
Vernon Cougar. Oh yeah, we might have to track this one down and do an episode on here because it kind of pertains. Like we could swing it. We can. Easy.
Any excuse to watch a good film,
right? Or a bad film. We don't know.
Yeah.
All right, man. As far as anything else that I have, again, if you guys want us to track down the Munster comics, let us know. You can find us on, I keep forgetting to do this on every episode too.
I know, I was going to bring that up.
You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at TheMunsterCast. And we are also able to be contacted through email at TheMunsterCast@outlook.com. And we are on every streaming platform at this point, I believe. And you can also find this on YouTube, where the people who are watching the videos are already at, but you can find us also on YouTube.
If you've listening in audio, you can go watch the unedited intro to our very first episode where we were a little slow getting started, which I actually enjoy that opening a bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome, man. All right. So any last words, Tivis? Oh, wait, before you go. Apologies. I didn't talk very much on this episode. I'm sorry, Tivis. I've been riding Tivis's coattails for the last few episodes.
That's fine. You got a lot of stuff going on in your life, dude. That's why I started taking very detailed notes.
If you hit something that I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I am taking some notes as I'm watching through too, but a lot of it is I'm just stupid busy, and I appreciate Tivis. So thank you very much, Tivis, for helping this show be better.
I'm enjoying the hell out of this.
Awesome.
This show is better than I ever imagined.
Awesome. Last words then, sir.
Yeah, go check out Green-Eyed Adams from the Addams Family. That episode had me laughing.
Awesome. And with that said, we will catch you next time as we take another stroll down 1313 Mockingbird Lane.
The lesson I want you to learn is it doesn't matter what you look like. You can be tall or short, or fat or thin, or ugly, or handsome, like your father. Or you can be black or yellow